Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. We're going to talk about those cute Studio Ghibli memes you've seen. People taking photographs and turning them into memes. Well, apparently this is a bridge too far. There's a potential lawsuit brewing over these memes. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how this is the line, right? Like everything was cool with AI. Well, some people weren't cool with it, but a lot of people tolerated AI until they came for Totoro, until they came for Kiki's delivery service, until they came for Spirited Away. Now it's a bridge too far. Even Variety, like a week ago, they're like, the Ghibli style AI wake up call, guys. This is a wake up call. Yeah, because I don't think people are paying attention. I don't think people realized how good AI had gotten in a very short amount of time. Because when we think of AI art, people are always making jokes about, oh, there's too many fingers. It doesn't look right. Everything looks really off. It looks really strange. And yeah, that might have been the case a year or two ago, but that is not the case now, right? If you have a good model, the art in some cases is nearly indistinguishable from a hand-drawn piece. And more digital art tools are going to incorporate AI. I mean, it's here. There's nothing you can do about it. We're going to talk about the hand-wringing of artists. And again, you're talking to an artist. You're talking to a guy who worked on comics for years. And I'm not afraid of AI. I'm fascinated by it. I don't agree with it lifting other people's artwork. I think if you can train it on your own style, it can be a valuable tool. It can be a valuable assistant. But, you know, you're going to get people that, it's just like Photoshop, right? Like anybody can use Photoshop, but it takes a certain level of skill to use Photoshop, to do magic with Photoshop. So we're talking, you know, the difference between Meemaw doing some crappy, attempted a meme or something to share with the friends on Facebook, and somebody who actually can make it sing. And I think in the future, we're going to have cyborg artists. We're going to have, I mean, not literally, well, maybe literally if Elon Musk has his way, but I think we're going to have artists that really, just like we have digital artists now, we have CGI artists. We're going to have people that work very closely with AI, and they make it do amazing things. And the consumer, the general public, they're not going to care. They don't care how the sausage is made. They just know they look at something and to them it looks good, and they're going to buy it. Yes or no. It's as simple as that. And that is commercial art. That's the difference between commercial art and fine art. And it's going to get really interesting. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. So I'm going to go with this first. I'm sure you guys have seen these Studio Ghibli memes. I don't even think they put any in the articles here because they're so dirty. You're not allowed to. You can Google them. They're all over the damn place, right? And a lot of them are being made with the new model of OpenAI, I guess. Hype Beast has an article there. They said Japanese lawmakers are considering making AI-generated Studio Ghibli images illegal. Miyazaki has famously criticized the AI-generated animation images as an insult to life itself. Not these particular images, although I'm sure he's not happy about it. That was actually him talking about early AI. And it was like CG animation. I saw the clip. People keep misquoting that. Now, knowing what I know of Miyazaki, I do not believe he's okay with it. I don't think he's okay with it. But they're attributing something that he said a couple of years ago, I guess, to this situation. That's not actually the case. So they're talking about the popular Studio Ghibli style look that are becoming part of AI generated memes, centering around the iconic animation style of Studio Ghibli, which is Miyazaki's own art style, mostly, right? I mean, if you read his manga, if you read Nausicaa, that's pretty much his style, which is beloved by the communities worldwide and is seen as a big part of Japan's cultural identity. The images sparked a debate that sees lawmakers and Miyazaki enter into a conversation about whether or not it crosses any lines of copyright infringement. Now, lawmakers in Japan are planning on potentially taking action over the Ghiblification of images. At a recent government committee meeting, dealmakers posted questions of ethics and copyright law to the forefront. According to Deserto Constitutional Democratic Party member Masato Imai, I hope I'm getting that right. I don't know if I'm getting that right. Brought up the topic with Nakahara. I asked, there has been discussion of whether or not so-called giblification giblification, you've been giblified, making AI generated images in the Ghibli style constitutes copyright violation under the current interpretation of the law. Just how legal is it? Nakahara replied, ultimately, that is something for the courts to decide. If it is only a matter of the style or ideas being similar, then it would not be considered copyright infringement. If AI generated content is determined to be similar or too reliant on pre-existing copyrighted works, then there's a possibility it could constitute copyright infringement. So use of styles and ideas is legal, but if an AI generated image were recognized as being Ghibli itself, then that would be a violation of the law. So this is a slippery slope too, right? Because if you say, well, if you do it in the style of something, then you could be breaking the law. And then Disney could like copyright the Disney style. And Disney will abuse that. Oh my God. They'll be like, every artist ever that we've had work for us, Don Bluth, is going to jail because he draws in the Disney style, even though he drew in that style when he worked for us. You know what I'm saying? Like that really is a slippery slope too. So it said the decision of whether or not Ghibli style images created by language learning models like ChatGPT infringes on the intellectual property still needs to be discussed. However, for now, there is no direct legal action being taken. Not yet, but they're looking at it. So this has become a wake-up call. And they're talking about how other famous IP and artists with highly recognizable styles were repurposed. Pixar, The Simpsons, Lego, Muppets, Dr. Seuss. It's also worth noting that likenesses of numerous public figures were also Ghibliized, Ghiblification, including a double whammy of unauthorized uses such as Snoop Dogg. Again, I am really torn on this because it is a slippery slope. Because if you're like, well, you're not allowed to parody people at all, you're not allowed to parody a style, that's going to be really strange. But then you can't have a free for all either, right? You can't just have people just like lifting content and saying, yeah, whatever, it's fair use if it's not actually fair use. But then we have people talking now that they just want to get rid of copyright and IP law altogether, probably because those people have a vested interest in AI and they want to be able to use whatever they want to use, right? Making a picture with ChatGPT inserted millions of unwitting average users into legal and ethical debates that have been ongoing for over 2 years about generative AI and copyright, training data, labor theft of human creators, and the value and meaning of art. By no means is replicating exact art styles a brand new capability for AI image models. Visual artists with recognizable styles have been the first victims of AI mimicry since late 2022. After the launch of Stable Diffusion. Yeah. While replicating style with AI isn't new, the use of the capability in the 4.0 model of ChatGPT, that is, during the Ghibli trend has gone further to proving the threat to IP is real. It's supercharged and dispersed the damage across numerous IP. Again, why is it just people have been making fake trailers? They've been making, fake celebrity videos, both clean and unclean, or XXX. And why is it Ghibli? Why is Ghibli the bridge too far? Right? Because people are looking for information on this. So this was yesterday. Viral AI made art. Viral AI made art trends are making artists even more worried about their futures. Here we go again. ChatGPT generated action figures and Studio Ghibli inspired illustrations have dominated the internet in recent weeks, reigniting artists' concerns about their livelihoods. I am telling you, as an artist of a certain age, right? One, there's always going to be a demand for hand-drawn, hand-painted art, right? There's still demand for fine Swiss watches. That's just not something you pick up at Walmart, right? Commercial art's a different thing. So people adapted. They went digital. When it comes to commercial art, they went from analog to digital because it was more cost efficient. It was easier, had a lot more tools, and they're going to go from that to AI assisted art. It's inevitable. Right. So where does that leave you? I don't know. How much money you got to pay back on your on your SCAD degree? Yeah, I guess is what I'm asking, right? Like, look, I've seen a lot of things. I basically saw the rise of digital art from the very beginnings, right? I saw it happen in real time, and I saw older artists that were unwilling to adapt get displaced, and then you had a bunch of newer people come in, and then and I saw a lot of pushback at first, and then eventually it became the norm. Drawing comics digitally with a tablet wasn't cheating. It became the norm. Coloring comics digitally with a tablet, with Photoshop or whatever, Clip Studio, was no longer cheating. It was the norm. It was expected. And this too, eventually, I mean, it's going to probably take a little bit longer, but this too eventually will be the norm. Now, I guess, you either adapt to that new reality and realize that it doesn't matter how good of an artist you are, you're not going to be as good as the machine. I mean, hello, John Henry. You can be the best of the best of the best. And some people are going to value that, and they're going to pay you handsomely for that. But the average person buying commercial art from a Walmart or an Amazon or whatever is not going to care as much, right? So this ethical dilemma, moral dilemma, really, I think is kind of quarantined to just artists hand-wringing amongst themselves, because the general public does not care. They do not care. They see a Ghibli meme, they think it's funny. They see Donald Trump dancing in a video or something on social media, it's AI generated, they think it's funny. They don't care, right? I mean, that's the truth of it. That is the truth of it. So that's what you're going to have to grapple with. It's not what your peers think of you. I mean, they're going to try to cancel you because they want you out of their industry. So again, limited resources. So there's more for them, they think. But at the end of the day, what does a consumer think? That's what's going to matter when it comes to digital art, right? I know I went off on a side tangent here, but yeah. Anyway, they said, there's an explosion of AI-generated images in recent weeks. It sparked a fresh wave of concern among artists like Joy Cardano. She does anime-inspired art, who argue that using AI undermines the importance of trained artists and takes away their commission opportunities. Yeah, not a lot of demand for blacksmiths who shoe horses these days. I mean, I'm sorry. And again, I am an artist. I can say this, right? And I'm a person who's had to adapt multiple times throughout my life to change. And it comes at you. You don't see it coming. A lot of times you don't see it coming. It just hits you upside the head, especially when it comes to technology. People who use AI generators should be respectful of artists, says Joy Oblivion. That's her name. Joy Oblivion on Instagram. It's unethical. Even if the artists are vocal about how they don't want their art to be used, they refuse to listen. I think whoever uses it or is thinking of using it should research how it impacts the art community. They don't care. The average person does not care, Joy. I'm sorry. I mean, look, I did comic book conventions. We had comics out on the table. People walk by and they're like, oh my God, comic books at a comic book convention. I didn't know they still made comic books because most of the other vendors were dealing in like pop culture tchotchkes. And that is the truth of it. And you don't want to hear it. And this is why people dog on me all the time. I'm like, look, I'm not lying to you. I'm telling you the truth of the situation. The truth of the situation is you're John Henry. It's a machine. You can work with it, right? You can be the person. Maybe you're not the person who does the actual, physical labor, I guess. What did the machine do? It was railroad spikes, right? That's what it was. But it doesn't do the actual physical labor anymore, but you're the one who greases the machine. You still have a job. If you're just like, I don't want anything to do with those machines, I'm going to go live in some Amish community somewhere, then you're going to be shoveling horse shit. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Just because you complain about it doesn't mean it's going to stop. Just because you complain about it, actually what it looks like to a lot of people outside of art circles, outside of creative writing circles, is that you're just whining that your jobs are on the chopping block now when other people's jobs were on the chopping block. And a lot of people, I'm not saying Joy here, but a lot of people thought it was good that coal miners were displaced. They thought it was good that factory workers were displaced because they're polluting the environment. People are going to think that it's good that whiny artists get replaced. And that's the truth of it. They don't care. It's like if I can buy art from an art machine, pay a lot less, and it's not going to talk back or give me hot takes on Twitter or call me a Nazi, then I'm going to pop a quarter in the art machine. Right. And that's what I'm going to do. It is what it is, people, right? Many in the art community echo the sentiment as they continue to monitor the latest advancements in AI, including the recent rollout of OpenAI's ChatGPT 4.0, which can generate text, images, and audio, and has been able to for a number of years. The mainstream media is very slow to catch up. Actually, I would not be surprised if a lot of their articles aren't being written in part by ChatGPT. They're just not telling you about. Wouldn't it be funny if ChatGPT was writing the article complaining about ChatGPT? Or maybe it's Gemini complaining about ChatGPT. ChatGPT users are able to generate images. Then you have to pay, right? So this is Joy Oblivion 30, who's based in the Philippines, said she has been a full-time artist since graduation from college. That's good. It's hard. She primarily sells her work on imprint and online shopper commission pieces, usually start at $100. Is that her stuff? No, she's pretty good. She's pretty good. After having seen the virility of the Ghibli trend, she took to Instagram to highlight her past work in the hope of swaying people to pay for art instead. Ghibli fan art that I drew with my own hands without needing AI. Yeah, I mean, she's good. But she used a tablet. This is all digital. This looks like it was done with Clip Studio. I'm just saying, there's probably somebody who would do all that with pencil who would say that Joy is cheating. I'm just saying. Yeah, the meteor comes for us all. It comes for us all. Every single one of us. Several other artists took the same approach, posting their own images while condemning the Ghibli art. Miyazaki called AI-generated art an insult to life itself. That keeps going around. He did say it, but not in context. Not in this particular context, right? That's not what he was looking at. Some god awful early AI of like, it looked like bodies that were like flopping around. The clip's out there. You can go find it. Many artists say they are particularly concerned about AI's ability to mimic certain styles, which artists have honed for years. Holly Mengert, 37 from LA, said she came across an AI model that was trying to replicate her art style back in 2022. Okay. Well, here's the thing though. Is your style unique, or is it truly unique, or is it you've learned from other artists yourself? And that's kind of what these art bots do, is they learn from other artists. I mean, this is where it gets really tricky, because if you're going to say, well, you have to have a 100% unique style, nobody on this planet has a 100% unique art style. It's usually a combination of things, influences from different places. Maybe it's in the case of comics, maybe you're bringing a sensibility from another medium into comics or into animation, but you didn't like really originate that style. Like there are only so many kinds of lines you can throw down on paper, right? And that's where it's hard, because most people learn to draw from other artists, or they have teachers, they have influences. You know what I'm saying? She received messages notifying her that someone had made a model based on her art style. Okay, so if they based on hers, if they trained it on her style, that's different. If people are just generating random images, right, that's a problem. But this is the thing. This is where I think AI could be useful, is if it's your style and you're training it to help you, I think that's fine. I think that's a perfectly valid use of it. And I think it actually is a good thing, or could be a good thing for artists. But again, people are going to abuse it. She looked for herself. She was impressed with what she saw. She said the images that the model produced were similar to hers, but they lacked emotion and wasn't something she'd actually draw. So what's the problem? Well, if you took the time that you're typing prompts into AI to just try sketching something for yourself, well, that's a problem now too, because you can do that. There are applications out there where you can sketch something and the AI can take your sketch and turn it into something better. I mean, it is what it is. So this is, let's see here. Sarah Anderson. Yeah, she's been kind of leading the charge. She said a few years ago, she found herself in a position similar to Ghibli's after she saw people online were creating false versions of her comics using AI technology. Now that I do not think is okay. They're trying to pass off as hers. That led her and two other artists to sue three AI companies in January 2023. Lawsuit's still active. I'm going to be honest, I don't think they're going to get anywhere with it. Credit, consent, and compensation. That's what we'd like. Okay, so what's going to happen? I'm going to wrap this up here pretty soon, guys. I have a lot of thoughts about this as an artist and as someone who has a foot in art and a foot in technology. I've done both, like my whole life. I've juggled both, right? Ideally, you would be compensated. I mean, I would like to see, like, if you have a very distinct style, right? I mean, no one's style is 100%, free of influence, from somebody else. But if you have one that, like, somebody looks at it and is like, oh, that's the Jim Lee style. Well, if you're Jim Lee and you want a piece of the pie, then say, fine, I'm going to sell the Jim Lee style to OpenAI, and people who pay OpenAI, then OpenAI can pay me. They can make Jim Lee style images all they want, as long as I get paid for it. But then you're going to have artists that are going to be out there and they're going to start, and I'm just using Jim Lee. I don't know what the hell he thinks about any of this stuff. I'm going to be honest, right? But they're going to be out there attacking Jim Lee then, because they're going to be like, you're a sellout. You cross the imaginary picket line. And that's what's going on with voice actors right now too, is that some of them are selling their voices basically to AI companies. And then, exactly what she's talking about with art, and they're going to get royalties off of it. They're going to be able to use, their families hopefully will get royalties off of usage, like James Earl Jones' family. Hopefully, they're profiting from Darth Vader for years to come, decades to come. That's the ideal, right? I mean, it's better to get something than nothing, right? So you're going to do that. So if I said, hey, I want to sell neon style artwork, and I'll make a deal with OpenAI for that, and then anybody can draw like me. Why you'd want to draw like me? But if you wanted to draw like me, right? And I get paid every time somebody puts an image out there like mine, and I'm okay with that, I'm still going to get attacked for it. You know that, right? You're still going to get attacked for it because you dared cross the imaginary digital picket line. So that's a sticky situation here. I mean, geez, Ghibli, if they were smart, I mean, I get it. I get that they want to kind of control how their work is used, or how that look is used. But if they were smart, I'd be like, fine. You pay us every time somebody generates one of those Ghibli memes. And there's certain things that we won't allow, right? You can't have Freaky Kiki going on delivering her muffins to whoever's willing to pay. But like, as long as it's like within reason, and somebody wants to take a picture of grandma and turn her into a Ghibli character, something like that, right? And we get paid for it, I'd be like, yeah, okay. Because they're going to do it anyway, right? I mean, it's like, what are you going to do? They're going to do it anyway. I mean, that's the unfortunate truth. And like, you don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. I don't agree with it. I don't necessarily like it. But the reality is at this point, it's better to get something than nothing, because if you don't get something, they're just going to take it anyway. It's the same with, why is the New York Times selling selling the rights to all their newspaper content for years? Why are websites selling all their content to Google or OpenAI? Because if they don't, they're going to take it anyway. They're just going to take it. They're just going to take it and change it 25% or whatever they have to do. And that's the truth. That's the truth of it. And my advice for artists is make sure you're tech savvy, because in the future, if you're going to have any kind of a career in commercial content creation, I think all stuff is going to congeal into commercial content creation. You're going to have to be damn good at working with computers, because everything is going to involve that. Everything is going to involve that. I mean, you can still paint, on the canvas, whatever, but just realize the market's going to be very limited for that. Get real good, and you can command a high price for that. But I don't think that most companies are going to want a lot of analog work, because it is a pain in the ass to deal with, and scan it in, clean it up. Yeah. You know how it is, right? Anyway, there we go. Gonna wrap it up. I've rambled too long. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.